Welcome back to Guns and Gear Network, everyone. Appreciate you tuning in. Today I'm going to show you how I put a wood stove and stove jack in my Kodiak canvas tent. Stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. So today I'm going to show you the long-awaited stove jack and wood stove that I installed in my Kodiak canvas tent. So it's all over the internet as far as people asking about putting stove jacks in tents, and it's not uncommon. It's been done for centuries. Outfitters do it out west especially. I mean, it's very prevalent. You can buy tents that already have stove jacks installed, so this is not uncommon. There are some precautions that you need to take, and I've done this before a long time ago with some buddies of mine, and wanted to do it again with this Kodiak canvas tent. And there's the competitor to Kodiak canvas called Spring Bar, which this right here is a design like Spring Bar, and they actually sell some of these parts and pieces, so they know that the demand is out there. I researched this for better part of a year. That's why you hadn't really seen this tent. There's tons of videos on this tent. I won't go into that too much on this video, but I will show you a few little things I've done with the Kodiak canvas tent. I'll probably do a separate video about that, but this is the 10x14 deluxe model. And there's a few videos floating around of people installing stove jacks either in a Spring Bar and or a Kodiak canvas, either videos or some like how-to tutorials and people posting pictures up on the internet. I researched this better part of a year before I cut a hole in my $700 tent. So I've put a lot of thought into this and the parts and pieces needed. I will have everything in the section below down there. I will also pin it in the comments. So in the description down there, you'll see where I bought a lot of this stuff, maybe a part number, whatever the case, and then I will also list it in the comment section. I'll pin that. Now, some of this stuff, most of this stuff can be found on Amazon. I will put a link to the Amazon affiliate store that we have set up that you can find all this stuff. Doesn't cost you any extra than what you would normally pay shopping on Amazon. However, some of this stuff I did not buy on Amazon, and I got it a little cheaper somewhere else. If you want to do like I did and scour around trying to find things, and I'll discuss where I got things as we go in the video, but everything that is in this build, except for a few things I got at Lowe's, is in the Amazon affiliate store. So why would you want to put a stove in a tent? So the obvious answer is to stay warm. So if you're looking at long-term, whether it be a deer camp setup or maybe a bug out location setup, something long-term, you're going to need some type of heat source depending on your climate. I live in an area that we have all the seasons, and in my area we get, in the wintertime, we get into the teens for extended periods of time. So there's no way you could sustain yourself without some heat source, being able to cook, things like that. It'll make you and your family much more comfortable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the inside of the tent and work my way out, showing you exactly everything that I used and all that. So let's do that. I'm going to take this off the tripod, and it's going to be a little shaky a little bit throughout the video, and I do apologize. So first things first, you enter the tent, and I'll kind of show you. This is a 10x14, so a wood stove in general is going to eat up a lot of space, but this one's big enough that I feel like it would be fine. I made myself some notes here, and I want to go over everything. This stove is the Camp Chef Alpine stove. It is excellent rating on everywhere you look. So it is a very well built stove. It is an import stove that is similar to a design already on the market. So, but it does get great reviews, and I don't have it set up fully with the heating racks off to the side, but I just wanted to kind of show you everything. It comes with a pipe that starts at like 5 inches and goes up bigger because it is a nesting pipe that fits inside of the stove itself. I could not figure out a good way to use that with my setup. So it's really hard to find elbows and things that fit when a pipe is nesting. Those pipes that they include is really designed to go out the roof. I did not want to put one of these stove jacks out the roof of my tent. I know people that do it. I know that a lot of the canvas outfitter tents are built that way. I did not want to do that. So you might run much more risk of leaking water in and things like that with that situation. So what you see on the floor down here is an oil drip pan. That is like used in the automotive industry. I bought it at O'Reilly's. It's like $11. So that right there is what the stove sits on. It protects the floor not only from the legs of the stove, you know, puncturing or damaging your floor of your tent, but it also has a spot for ash and things that might fall out. You could also stack wood under there. This other thing you see around here is a welding blanket that I got from Harbor Freight. That welding blanket, let me get my notes here. That welding blanket is the, I think it's, let's see what size it is. So the welding blanket obviously is for the purpose of keeping ash from damaging, you know, if you had any that come out. Now I don't have this set up right. What I'm going to do is pull that out more so it's more out towards the front of the stove, not to the back of the stove. But it's a 4x6 welding blanket. They make blankets specifically for going under stoves. They're actually just more expensive. So what I did was, I see this part right here. That is called an increaser, even though I am decreasing the size of the pipe. You have crimped ends and solid ends. The crimped end is down in the stove. That is a 5-inch, and then it goes up to a 4-inch. Now, also, part of this you're going to need to, everybody's setup is going to be different. I'm going to give you the exact measurements. If you want to duplicate exactly what I did, you can do that. So I tapped in 2 sheet metal screws to hold this piece here to this first run of pipe. That first run of pipe, I couldn't measure it because I've already screwed it in, but from here to here is, let's see what my measurement is, 19.5 inches from there to there. All right, so I had to cut this pipe to get this thing to fit exactly right. I also installed a 4-inch damper to be able to choke back the fire so it'll burn better. This second pipe you see here, so here's pipe, there's the increaser, pipe 1, pipe 2 goes up to this 90-degree elbow. This pipe here is 16 3/8 inch. So I'll give you a side view of that. And it goes up to this elbow. All right, so this is a 90-degree elbow. And these pipes that you see here are 4-inch, and they are 28 gauge. No, I'm sorry, they're 24 gauge. This right here is an elbow, but it is 28 gauge. It's a little thinner. Now I could find, it was hard for me to find all these parts and pieces, so I may tweak this a little later, but I wanted to get the general configuration. So this pipe going out, you see going out into the outside, this is screwed into here. So you don't want this pipe coming apart. So every part, every piece that I had that was a little, it didn't fit really snug, I went ahead and tapped it in. So this whole pipe now will not fit inside the stove at all. And I'm going to use a canvas military duffel bag to store everything. It's no big deal to me. I didn't have to have it in the stove. I mean, it's a nice concept to have it that way. Didn't have to have it. So the next thing you're going to see is the ring itself and this right here. Now, what this is, people worry about, this is silicone. This stove jack is specifically designed for tents. It is built by companies that sell tent stoves and work with tent companies to be able to put a stove jack in. You do not have to sew this. That was one of the reasons I wanted to do this way. I did not want to try figuring out to sew it either myself or to pay somebody to sew it. I wanted to be able to do it myself. And some people, even myself, even though this is a high temperature silicone, I was a little worried about heat, direct hot heat from this. This is a thin wall, a single wall pipe going out. So what I did was I bought some muffler or header wrap. It's called in like the auto industry or motorcycle industry. It is designed, it's a fiberglass type 2-inch wide material that you wrap. And then on the outside of that, I used high temp heat tape. This is not like duct tape or anything. This is specifically designed, again, for motorcycle and or auto industry, just to kind of hold it all together. This actually is real snug against this, but it does slide a little bit. I guarantee I hadn't fired this up, but I've used this stuff on motorcycle header pipes and things like that. And it will be cool to the touch. I mean, not like cool like cold, but it will not be hot. You can put your hand on it, it will be fine. That's what it's designed for, to protect like your legs and stuff. So a lot of people have this wrap on their header pipes of motorcycles so they don't burn their legs and things like that. So what you're looking at is this has a stainless ring front and then the back. I'll show you from the outside, and see these little studs that come through on some of these stove jacks. These are actually just bolts. These are actually welded to that other ring on the outside, and I'll show you that. Sandwiched between is a leather O-ring that I made. There's two of them, one on this side of the tent and one on the back side on the outside. So what I did was I bought two pieces of, I think it's 6-7 ounce leather. Leather thickness is measured by ounces. So it was a 6-7 tooling leather. Has no dyes or anything like that. It's what's called a natural veg tan. So that way it wouldn't stain the tent or anything. So what I did was I bought pieces. You're going to have to buy pieces of leather that at least are 9 inches, because this right here, from here to here is, I think, a little over 8.5. So at least 9 inches, and the two I bought I think were 9 by 11 or something. And what I did was I put the ring down on the leather as a whole piece. Then I marked all my holes. Make sure when you mark your holes that they are dead center, because this thing cannot be off a little bit or it will not work. Punch your holes in the leather first, then sandwich the two rings together before you cut out the gasket you're going to make, because what that's going to do is you're going to use the metal ring as a guide to make your gasket. If you mark and draw the thing out and then try cutting it by hand with scissors or razor blade or something, you could get off very easy. By sandwiching that two plates together and then using that as a guide to cut the outside and the inside of the gasket, you'll cut it perfect every time. So just do that. Be careful with that leather. It's expensive. I did find it on eBay. Again, I'll show you all that in the section below down there, what I bought. So some people on these stoves, they put like a double wall pipe through here. I think this is going to be an excellent choice to use. It's a lot cheaper than those things. This wrap is like $12, $13 for like 25 foot, and then your tape, it's another $7, $8 or whatever that is. So wing nuts to attach everything. If you notice, the wing nuts are going long ways with the curve, so they're not in my way, that sort of thing. All right. If you have any questions about this, you're more than welcome to post that in the section below. Show you outside what I did here. So, if you notice, here's that outer ring I was talking about, and these bolts are spot welded all the way around, which makes it much more convenient. So what I did was, I took the ring and marked my holes with a Sharpie, and then I poked them with a small needle just to get them going, and then I gradually built the hole bigger, each of these holes bigger, with different diameter screwdrivers, Phillips head. So it'll go in point first, and then you just kind of push it. Keep working it. It works much better doing this with somebody on the inside and outside helping you. The leather gasket here is not really held in place, but it helped kind of seal everything together. I use this stuff called tear mender. It is a silicone based glue designed specifically for fabric. Now you could use probably barge cement, like a contact cement specifically for leather, something like that, but I did want something to kind of bond the leather to the canvas itself. Again, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about heat. I think this thing's going to be totally cool through there with that fiberglass wrap that I've put on it. It comes out here to there, so that's just a 90-degree straight out. There, the pipe ends here, and then this pipe here extends out. All these pipes start out at 24 inches. You're going to have to cut to fit. Obviously, this one is not cut, don't need to. Then you have your spark arrestor. You always use a spark arrestor when you are doing wood stove, especially in a tent. I would always have a spark arrestor. Now, there's a couple thoughts on this. Again, I researched this for the better part of a year, looking at different videos, different people's setup on, again, forums, wherever, Facebook, all over. Some people would think that you would come out here and then turn another 90 and go up. You could do that. Here's the problem that you start running into with some of this, extending this pipe really long. I guess I could put a 90-degree here and then take this pipe and turn it straight up. I may wind up doing that, don't know just yet, but I've seen this straight pipe set up on quite a few tents already, and I think I'm going to try it this way. When you start extending this out longer, that means this part out here is going to start getting cooler, which when that happens, it builds creosote, and creosote can be dangerous. It is highly flammable. It'll build up inside your pipe. You're going to get some buildup anyway, and periodically you'll need to take and burn that out. There's a couple videos on YouTube showing you how to burn that out. If you ever watch it, it's crazy because that stuff is highly flammable. Once it gets going, man, it is like really, really hot and just burns like crazy. So keep that in mind. When this is out here like this, extended, that means that pipe is going to get cooler because it's outside in the elements, whether it be snow, just general the cool weather. And that's going to cause that hot smoke to start cooling down and build creosote. Then also with this, I wanted something. I used the spark arrestor that came with the setup from Alpine, or from Camp Chef on the Alpine stove, and I just trimmed it down to fit this 4-inch and rewired it smaller. With this setup, if it was going up on that 90 we talked about, fine. I would have to do a little more finagling to then, if I needed to clean out this spark arrestor. With it right here, I simply can just grab hold of it, pull it off, clean it, and slide it back in. With something like this, you're going to want a brace system. There's a few different thoughts on this. Some people build a Y. So they'll take 2 pieces of conduit and crisscross them and make an X, and it'll go up like this. Seen people use just plain sticks. Once they get to the woods, find 2 sticks and set them up that way. You can do that. I've seen a tripod set up. I also seen a gentleman that did this similar brace system. So it's just braced to the pole of the tent itself up there with a C-clamp type setup with wing nuts. I did buy the wing nuts so I could do it with just something as simple as a multi-tool, and I did it at an angle so this is already wedged into a position where it's not going to move or can't. And then I pulled this up higher down to here, and then if you look, I took 2 eye bolts put here, and then this is a spring like this that you simply just, now I can't do it because I'm on the camera with one hand. Hang on. Sorry, guys. All right, so I got a hold of it. All right, so you just take this, and you could use something as simple as fencing wire around there to hold it. You're just wanting to hold this in place so it doesn't go anywhere. What you're trying to do is have this brace where it keeps the weight from pulling downward and pulling the pipe up out of your stove is all you're trying to accomplish here, really, and to stabilize it a little bit in, say, if you had some winds going on. But I think that covers everything, guys. Hope that was helpful. Be very careful anytime you're burning wood stoves in a tent. You have to pay attention to carbon monoxide, of course, smoke, all that. And it's wise to always have some type of possible smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector, things like that. Proper ventilation. Make sure you're ventilating everything correctly. Your tent and your setup's going to have to be, you got to figure that out. What size stove? There's all kinds of sizes. Now keep in mind, it's much easier to put less wood in a stove than having a stove too small and you're constantly having to pack it with wood. And I had some people ask about that, And at the end of the day, I can put less wood in, but I really can't put more wood in a real small stove. But there's all kinds of stoves out there. Just buy one that's really designed for something like this. They make them out of everything from ammo cans to whatever. Just make sure it's a good quality stove. Make sure you're using the proper precautions when you are doing a tent stove setup, so you don't get yourself in trouble either with the fire itself or with carbon monoxide or smoke or something like that. But anyway, guys, hope that was helpful. Again, I will maybe tweak on this. If I do make any adjustments once I get to using it, I will notify you and let you know that, either doing another video or I'll post in the comments for later on if I made a change to something. But again, researched this better part of a year or more, trying to decide. It was a big decision to cut a, basically a 6-inch hole inside of your tent. That was a little tough, but I did it and it's fine. But there's plenty of stoves, built-in tents, and people do it all the time. So just a little hump to get over to get your courage up to decide to finally do it. And that's why you want to make sure it's done right the first time, and so forth. But if you got any questions, post those below. If you've done something like this or have a suggestion or whatever the case, be sure to share that with us. That's always helpful. And as always, guys, appreciate you tuning in. If you like, share, and subscribe, bring another video shortly. Have a great day.